during the Cold War. We're going to take you around the globe to a number of hotspots that were active during that era. It's not about those particular conflicts, though. So, like, we have Vietnam sequences, but you're not there to fight the Vietnam War. You're there to fight your specific covert, deniable operation. So, it's not the thing that history taught you about Cold War. It's what history specifically did not teach you about the Cold War. That's the era. That's the angle that we're telling with Black Ops.
We live in a world where everything you know is wrong.
Of course, the core staple to Call of Duty will still be there. We're not going to sacrifice any cinematic intensity at all. You're still going to, players expect a certain thing out of their Call of Duty game. They're still going to get that. But we're going to be able to tell them things that they haven't seen before, completely fresh and new experiences, a variety of experiences. And I think at E3 we showed you that with, flying your own helicopter to SR-71, to base jumping. There's so many things that are going to happen in our levels that really these Black Ops units did partake in.
What was the thinking behind adding those into the game?
It was just that there's a lot of Call of Duty games, and players love them, and they've had a lot of experiences, a lot of great experiences. So we really needed to just ratchet that bar up to the next level, and we can't give them things that they've already done. We have to give them some new stuff. So for the first time in a Call of Duty, you're flying, you're actually controlling an aircraft, you're controlling the Hind. On top of it, because we're covering the Black Ops angle, these are guys who are CIA sanctioned, right? So they have access to unprecedented and prototype weapons, right? So we talked to a lot of the veterans that are part of these groups too, and they said that it's not unrealistic for them to have gotten prototypes upwards of 5 years out in advance of when they were in mainline production. So some of the weapons in our game, you may think, well, weren't those developed a few years later? Well, the point is, if they wanted to field test those weapons, these Black Ops teams like SOG, they would be the guys they'd want to field test it.
Yeah, I was thinking about watching the demo because they were using the Dragon's Breath shotgun ammo, and I was thinking, really in this era?
Yeah, exactly. And that more specifically is an example of some of the way they would pack their own custom ammo. We talked to Major John Plaster, who's a SOG veteran, in fact, and he would tell us about how they would pack their own ammo, modify their own weapons, and they would bring them whatever they needed on the mission they could take, and they could do whatever they wanted to their weapons, and no one's going to stop them because these guys are the best of the best. And we of course have our military advisor that's been with the franchise, Hank Kiersey. He's a retired lieutenant colonel from the U.S. Army, and he teaches at West Point. He's a great historian on any war subject matter. And then we also, though, this time around brought in a former Soviet Spetsnaz operative. Yeah, his name's Sonny Puzikas. And Sonny taught us a lot about the other side of war. So basically, the Spetsnaz, they're the Russian Black Ops. Like they're just as trained as we are, except they're on the other side. So the AI type that you're going to experience in our single player is going to be a completely different and a much more formidable opponent when you're fighting our Soviet Spetsnaz. They really are unbelievable. He taught us about this tactic they called getting off the X, and basically. They're training our military. We train with a rifle first. We train you how to be accurate in basic training with a rifle. They don't do it that way. They don't teach you with a weapon first. They teach you. They point a muzzle at you, and they teach you how to immediately evade and immediately get off that line of sight from that muzzle, so that the first shot's going to miss you. And then they teach you how to get to your enemy and disable your enemy without weapons. So it's just a completely different fighting force. And then imagine how lethal they are with a weapon in their hand. So it's going to really throw the player off the first time they encounter it in Black Ops.
Fantastic. So let's talk about the multiplayer. What can people expect from that part of Call of Duty Black Ops?
Yeah, multiplayer is just a huge part of the franchise, and I'd be remiss to not tell you about it. So we unfortunately aren't ready to go into a deep dive into our multiplayer. We'll reveal that later this year. But what I can tell you is that we're putting a strong focus on player personalization and socialization. So especially the first-person shooter gamer, they want to create their own online identity. They want to make the game their own, play it the way they want to play it. So we're going to give them the tools and the platform to do just that. If you think about how Creative Class works in the Call of Duty games, a lot of that lives in there now, so we've completely blown that system out. And then socialization, it's not like the stereotypical antisocial gaming, right? This is actually a very social experience playing Call of Duty. So whether it's on the battlefield, playing with a friend, or playing with a clan, or in some online tournament, whatever you're doing, there are all these social player-to-player interactions that take place that we want to encourage and embrace, and we're going to give them the platform to do that. And then there's the social ecosystem that lives outside and around the game, even, like web stats and all sorts of other things that I can't talk about. So we'll be revealing more of this stuff later in the year, but it's It's really a big project for us because for the first time at Treyarch, we've had the opportunity to have a dedicated multiplayer team since day one, a dedicated co-op team since day one. We've done that because we have all of our resources focused on just Black Ops.
And finally, I've got a couple of quick questions from our users. Probably can't answer them, but I've got to do it. So first up, Lammy DJ wants to know if you're going to be running a beta for the game.
We're considering it. We're not ready to announce or deny a beta. If we are going to announce one, you'll hear it from me first. I'm on Twitter. It's JD_2020. So you'll be able to find me there.
I imagine we'll get a similar answer for this one from Hashy B. Is there going to be zombies or any kind of horde mode in the game?
We have co-op. It's a dedicated co-op mode. It's not campaign co-op, and it's going to have 4 players online or 2 players local split screen. But unfortunately, we can't disclose it just yet.
Great. Well, thank you very much for talking to us. Looking forward to it.
I appreciate it.
Go, go, go!